Howdy do my dudes, Random Fight Fan here. Got another fixing my build for you guys. This here is Zahad's Flickering Strike Invoker. So first of all, I've looked through a few of these, and he's got in the offhand the minion staff, or scepter I should say, with just a wand, so that you get extra cast speed, and that allows him to actually charge up his power charges with Profane Ritual because he's got a weapon swap sacrifice, so this is well set up for bosses, for mapping, for everything. He can kind of put this together everywhere, but with that said, let's put this together. He's on the right track, but first of all, the gear. His weapon here, it's pretty dang good, but he's saying that he does not have problems sustaining mana with +6 to melee skills here, +3 to melee skills here, and +2 to melee skills here. That's +11 to melee skills, and he's not having an issue sustaining mana, so that's fantastic. But with that said, this here is big fire, big cold, and low lightning damage. If you could have got this with more onto the lightning damage side, you would actually be doing quite a bit more damage, and you'd be able to scale some things on the tree a little bit better. But since you have a decent chunk of cold damage on there, it'd be nice if it's even higher cold, to be said. But we'll have some ideas with fixing your tree later. Either way, this here is a pretty solid weapon and is not needing to be changed really anytime soon, but it's pretty good. Next is your chest. It's a pretty great chest, really high evasion, really high energy shield. It's got big res. Shame the other two mods aren't a little bit better than the suffixes, and it's a shame your corruption didn't give you anything, but overall this is really solid and does not need to be replaced soon either. Your helmet as well, this year you hit the jackpot. It's a really good helmet. It's got great stats all around. I'm not aware if that's 3 energy shield rolls with the mana being one of them, or if that's just a flat mana. If it was 3 energy shield rolls, then fantastic. Seems a little low energy shield to be 3 though. But with that said, it's got the corrupted +1 maximum power charge, which is incredible. It's also got 2 decent resistances. Sure, the lightning's a little bit low, but your lightning res capped, so it's no problem. It's a shame you're not cold res capped yet, but it's still pretty solid. Now finally your belt, you can't go wrong with a good ingenuity. You even have a corrupted max life on there, which unfortunately, since your CI doesn't really do anything for you. You got 2 charm slots, which we'll get into later, but yeah, you could have a little bit better ingenuity, but a 57% ingenuity is pretty great. Now finally, I need to ask, do you have quality on your rings or amulets? Because they don't show any quality on it. But if you do, great, and if not, I'd say that's the first thing to do. Now for this ring here, your ruby ring, it's fantastic. It's got 3 good suffixes, it's got 2 good prefixes, it's on a good base that you need. Yeah, I like it, it's really good, but your unset ring, it's unfortunate. You got a decent lightning damage roll on there, like yeah, it could go higher, but oh well. But your suffixes, like you have 1 7 to all LE res, and you got the corrupted skill speed on there I see, but you could get so much more out of this ring. You could cap your cold res easily if you just had a bigger all res with a little bit of cold on there, or even just like a really big all res so that you could take off that lightning res rune or one of these lightning res runes and then just put on cold res. Like you would probably even be better off dropping this iron rune on your helmet just to get your cold res capped. But yeah, I'm thinking if you had a better unset ring here, or just if you didn't need unset, just a better ring in general, it would help you out a lot, but I'm going to go with what you got. This here is the first thing I would suggest replacing though, because you really need those suffixes, especially if you're going to be rocking ingenuity. The better ring you have, the better ingenuity you have. Now, another thing with this amulet, it's absolutely incredible. It really is incredible. It's got 3 great suffixes, it's got 3 great prefixes, because obviously you want the rarity. It's on a good base. It's unfortunately corrupted, because Storm Charged is not the best anoint to get. Instead of Storm Charged, you could get Tainted Strike, which gives you 25% crit chance instead of 20, and it gives you Shock Magnitude, which does more for you than the increased LE damage. There is Harmonic Generator, which is, I mean, I could just show you guys right now, which is also 25% shock effect, or crit chance, but 40% magnitude of shock, which is 8% more damage, which is crazy good. So that's like 8% more damage. This is 6% more damage, but the same crit chance. But also it's all the time crit chance. So, you know, they're both great nodes. You're currently doing Storm Charge, which is 40% increased elemental damage with crits, which, you know, is pretty good. but those ones are better. You could also be getting Volcanic Skin, which would be incredible for you as well if you had to switch gear around, that you would get 20% fire res to make it easier for you to get that cold res. And then finally, you could also get Pure Chaos, but honestly, all the rest are better because Pure Chaos does not take advantage of the Ellie pin from Sunder My Enemies, so you're actually getting more damage out of Volcanic Skin. I don't have the amulets set up for just 1-for-1 changing over Anoint, but I can tell you for a fact that the highest damage with the shock effect was obviously Harmonic Generator, and it gave you the most crit chance. And then the highest damage all the time, not including shocks, was Volcanic Skin. It was pretty dang good. You could also look into some things like Overwhelming Strike, which would be more damage as well, but this is just entirely up for you to check out and look around. But those are my recommendations for sure if you have something to look at. On top of that, there's another amulet called Serpent's Egg. I'll put that one up right now. Serpent's... No, come on. Serpent's Egg. It is a really powerful amulet that is has one special mod on it, and it is right here. When you gain an additional charge when you gain a charge, and then it also has like all attributes and chaos red, so it's got decent base stuff on it. And that will make it really easy for you to get max charges, especially against bosses. It'll take out a lot of the tedium out of it. I think you might like that quite a bit. Now, finally, back to the gear here. Pablo Kitty, you are absolutely ridiculous. Your charms. First of all, Stone Charm does absolutely nothing, unfortunately. It says it protects you from stuns, but it doesn't do squat. Stone Charm is awful. Thawing Charm is fantastic. Always use Thawing Charm. It's probably the best charm there is. Probably replace the Stone Charm with probably a Cold Res Charm would do a lot of good for you. Or maybe even the Gold Charm just for more magic find. I'm not too sure if that one works or not. I've heard conflicting reports on both sides. So if you want the Cold Res right now, probably the Cold Res Charm would do wonders for you. And now I guess finally I didn't speak about the gloves or the boots yet. Your gloves are pretty dang great. You don't really get much out of the accuracy, but you got all good mods all around. It's a shame that Fizz is a little low. Honestly, this year is also kind of on the list of things to be improved, but you got the 2 corrupted rune slots on there. It's a low priority to be improved, but it definitely can be improved. And then your boots as well. These things are fantastic. The only thing it could be is like a little bit better move speed. Like, these things are phenomenal. You got great boots. Don't worry about replacing them anytime soon. This would be like a super late end of league thing. You got a good pair. Now, one thing that you definitely need to look into that is a little bit ignored upon is your mana flask. You need to get a mana flask with a big plus to percent charges. You can get up to 70%, get at least 60 in there. Between 60 to 70%, I think you can get a 65 for like an X. It's really cheap. And the reason why you want that is because Ambrosia is a thing. And I see that you have that in your Quarterstaff Strike. You got Ambrosia here. You really need the big mana flask, and when you slot that in to your Flicker Strike against bosses, that will help you one-shot the bosses. Now, finally, your jewels. Unfortunately, your jewels are pretty much trash. Like, the main thing I need to say is, like, yeah, I think it's this Oblivion Stone here. No, the Hypnotic Cry is actually pretty good because you got 4 good stats in it. You got increased evasion, which is great defensives. You got the damage, the attack speed, and chance to blind. That's 4 for 4 good nodes. Fantastic on this one. But on here, you're not doing anything that requires presence at very effect. You don't have any presence nodes at all. The mana on kill is obviously great, but you don't really need the meta gains increased energy, but that one's at least somewhat helpful. But the 20% increased damage if you consumed a corpse recently, I know why you're doing that. You're using it because you have Profane Ritual, but Profane Ritual is not consuming a corpse, unfortunately. I guess I'll have to pull it up on POB here, onto the skills, Profane Ritual. It marks the corpse, deals chaos damage over time. The corpse is consumed and you gain a power charge, but it's not you consuming it. I'm pretty sure it is not you consuming it. And even when it is against bosses, it's not corpses, but it is your minions. I am quite certain that does not work with increased damage if you consumed a corpse recently, because when I was using that last season, it was not giving me anything. That's with Profane and with Grim Feast, it wasn't doing anything. So I'm quite certain it does not work, even though it does say it consumes the corpse with Profane. I do not believe that actually counts. If I am wrong on that, please let me know, but I'm pretty sure it does not work. Now on to the other ones. Magnitude of Ailments is great, critical damage is great. Then you got the Consumed, and again, I'm pretty sure that doesn't work. And now this Rupture Lost Rune, Time Lost Sapphire, while it is great in a great spot, you have it right here, getting a big area of effect, getting 5 nodes with it. You don't really care about the energy shield recharge rate, you don't really care about the mana regen, you don't care about the presence or vary of effect, but you've got a lot of mana on kill and you've got a lot of critical damage. If you need that much mana on kill, then you're spending too much mana. Honestly, like, the only really good node on this is the critical damage bonus, but that mana on kill could be great if you got rid of this jewel as well. This here is your best jewel by a lot. Your jewels need work, unfortunately. Now with your skills, the first thing that I need to bring attention to is you got 2 casts on freezes. You don't need 2, and honestly, Elemental Invocation or cast on critical would be better. These 2 combined cost 120, cast on critical would be 90, Elemental Invocation would be 60. Both of them would be better. Elemental Invocation, you can have it to auto set up with like a clicker, just hold the button down or anything you want to do and make it completely automated. And yeah, you'll get all the effect out of it. And then you'll also be able to use Rising Tempest, which is a huge 36% more damage multiplier. What you'd want to do is take Voltaic Mark, Innervate, and probably Magnified Effect and put it over here. Drop Impetus because you won't need it, and drop Overabundance because you won't need it. Because Profane Ritual, you're just going to get full charges all the time anyways, especially with Perfusion. Yeah, don't worry about it at all. And now we'll go on to Flicker Strike here. Unfortunately, Hit and Run is kind of a dead node. It only gives you more skill speed. It doesn't give you any more damage, and so that's a problem. If you don't want to switch anything around, getting close combat would be a lot more helpful than Hit and Run. And if you do want to swap some things around and get Elemental Invocation, then Rising Tempest would be the best. And then finally, on top of that, you're going to drop Perpetual Charge for Ambrosia whenever you're doing bosses. That'll help you one-shot the boss for sure. Herald of Thunder, it's perfect. I wouldn't change really anything about it. You might need... Well, you got Glaciation in there. You don't need Embitter on there. You're probably freezing enough with it as it is. This here is pretty good. Your Charge Staff, this is more of like your utility skill. I'd like to jack up the utility you get from Charge Staff, and that would be by getting more shock magnitude from it. So that would be like Overcharge and Commiserate. You unfortunately need to use both, even though Commiserate is bugged and does not give you the shock magnitude. But it does stop you from shocking yourself, which essentially means it stops you from taking 40% more damage. Another thing that you could definitely do on here is put Blind on there. I'm pretty sure Blind works with it. I actually haven't checked that one entirely. But instead of Blind Side, obviously, instead of Culling Strike, you'd put those 2 on, and then potentially Blind as well could be really great. You could also put on Electrocute. If you didn't want to get Shocks on there, you could make it Electrocute, but that builds up slow, whereas Shocks build up fast. You may need the 100% more Shock Magnitude Jewel, or not Jewel, support to get the Shocks off 100% consistent with Charge Staff, depending on how much lightning damage you do. And now with your Ice Strike, it's honestly really good. You're probably gonna, well, you may have to drop Close Combat and put it onto your Flicker Strike just for more damage around the place. But one thing you definitely need to get on here is Ice Bite for bosses, which means you could probably change the way that your Herald of Thunder works if you're putting Ice Bite on Ice Strike, and the reason for that is if you're getting the freezes on Ice Bite against bosses to start the fight, depending on how fast you build up your freeze, that's 35% more damage as cold to help you one-shot the boss even harder. It is a really potentially strong combo, but it might also be a little bit difficult to work around. It depends on what your playstyle is. I don't have any content for that yet, but I think you'll like this quite a bit. Now your Infernal Cry, you don't have any passive way to generate rage to get a good effect of your Enraged Warcry. Like, I know you got rage on Ice Strike, but you're not building it up before the boss, so what you're definitely going to want to do is get Orb of Storms with Rage Forge on there so that you can actually get the big empowered rage from Infernal Cry there, and just massively boost your power before the fight starts. It'll make that Flicker immensely more powerful. Now, one thing about your Profane Ritual here is that you absolutely need Corpse Conservation on here. And Spell Echo does not work with Profane Ritual. Unleash does, Arcane Tempo does, but not Spell Echo. So get Corpse Conservation on there, and it'll make it feel immensely better. With your weapon swap Scepter here, it'll consume fewer corpses and allow you to get more charges a lot easier and a lot faster. And then obviously if you got that amulet as well, it's entirely up to preference. It might make it charge even faster for you again, because I know you got to prep your charge staff, and then you also need to prep charges for Flicker. So it is a lot of things to do all at once. And then, yeah, like I was saying, either Ice Strike or on your charge staff, Blind would be really helpful. Now, finally, your Wind Dancer's in a pretty good spot, but Inevitable Critical is just... It's really convenient to go with it. It works very well. There's no reason not to have Inevitable Critical on Wind Dancer. And if you like Herbalism, great. If not, you can take it off. Honestly, this does nothing for you because you're your CI, I just realized. And this is only life flasks. So yeah, drop Herbalism, save some spirit for sure. Now... yeah, I'm thinking that we wouldn't have to really put anything else in. If we were able to drop one of these cast-ons, that would be your Orb of Storms. All you need on your Orb of Storm is Rage Forge. Mana Forge might help you out a bit, but it's definitely not essential. If you're critting too much, you could get the thing that forces you to not crit, therefore you'd get Moment of Truth procs off, which is very powerful. But it's all just a bunch of little things that could really boost your damage up there. And yeah, you got Ambrosia on the offhand, or on the Quarterstaff Strike, so that's there ready for you to swap around for bosses, make it really easy to go. Now, finally, for your Ascendancies, let's go to your build that you sent me on Path, and I opened it up in Path of Building. You set it up with the Soul Springs Eternal. I believe you'd be better off coming in for I Am the Thunder, because I know when I'm using Cast on Critical, I'm getting 3 to 4 casts with 1 Lightning Spear. And I know it's Lightning Spear, it's nuts, but you're probably getting a lot of charges as well, or will be. Not so much with Cast on Freeze, but with Elemental Invocation or Cast on Crit, you would get crazy amount of charges, and so you would not actually need the Soul Springs Eternal, and you get a massive amount of damage from I Am the Thunder, because you get the Magnitude of Shock, which is 3% more damage for everything, and then 10% more damage, because damage is extra lightning damage is crazy good. Unfortunately, you don't get any like shock or a chance to build shock, but this works with you very well. I've got your configuration set up not perfectly because Path of Building still doesn't understand War Cries or Ambrosia or anything like that, but it's saying you're about 900,000 DPS with Ice Strike, Flicker, and your Shockwaves. And when we come to see the tree, I see you came around here to get a little bit more energy shield. You came around for Essence of the Mountain, came down to Blinding Strike, but you're avoiding these power charge nodes. And I know you said you kept them off for just easier to set up your power charges, but if you were to make a few changes with your Scepter or the Amulet or just with Corpse Conservation, you won't need to make those changes. You'll still get full power charges and won't be a problem. So yeah, I think you definitely need to get these 2 power charge nodes. But then I also see you came all the way down. This here is a long way to go to not get anything for a little while. I'd suggest getting Coming Calamity, and that is for like 92, 3, 4 kind of thing. But it's not going to be doing as much for you as it could be if you had more lightning damage on your gear, because like I was saying before, with your main weapon, you got no main hand lightning damage except for those 2 runes, and it's a lot damage lost. Like you can get the adds lightning damage down there to say over 200, and then you could get more on your rings. You don't have any on this ring, you don't have any on your gloves. You only got it on this ring, and it's a pretty good roll, but you could get a ton more lightning damage onto your build, and that would take really good effect out of Coming Calamity, which would boost your damage even more. But if not, no problem, this can go elsewhere. The other node that I have an idea for is coming with Thin Ice if you're freezing the boss ahead of time, because that is an incredible amount of damage. But here, let me just show you the tree idea that I had set up for you instead of this. So this is your tree right now, and this is what I put together. As you can see, I more than doubled your DPS without changing any gear. I just moved a couple of skills around, well, not even skills, but mostly just supports around, and yeah, it is much more powerful. When you come and grab Coming Calamity, you get over 2 million damage per second. It's basically the same damage as Blinding Strike for 1 fewer points, and if you were to get more lightning damage, it is fantastic. If you were to get Thin Ice, as you can see, it didn't change the number because we don't say that the enemy's frozen yet, but if you do freeze the enemy, oh my god, it's a lot more. And you know how I said try putting Ice Bite onto Ice Strike? Yeah, Ice Strike. If you do that recently, oh boy, your damage goes up a lot. It goes up so much if you're going to freeze the boss with Ice Bite and then use your Flicker. It is so incredibly good. Another thing to quickly note about with Perpetual Charge is because, or sorry, with Pinpoint Critical, is with the 60% more critical hit chance. When you have 61.25% crit chance, so if we come 0.6125 times the 60% more, you're at 98% crit chance, which is really, really close for Flicker Strike. But if you come down and you change the tree just a tiny bit, I guess I gotta put on this one here, and you come through and you get these nodes here to up your crit chance. You can even flip it over here to make it only 63% if you wanted to. It says it's less damage because it's counting kind of everything. It's up to you if you want to, but if you're at, say, let's just lowball it at the 0.63 times 1.6, you're over 100% crit chance already, so that means you're getting full effect out of your Center My Enemy skill and you're critting all the time. So it would make even more benefit out of Castle and Critical and the like, but that is only with Flicker Strike with Pinpoint Critical. Now, finally, yeah, what I did here is instead of coming up and around and down a little bit and coming through Essence of the Mountain, I got you a lot more damage by coming through this Critical Chance node with 36% increased damage if you've critically hit in the past 8 seconds. It is a massive amount more damage. So you can see I'm at 1.9 million DPS pretty much, and you take this off, now we're at 1.7. It is a crazy amount more damage. The downside is you do lose 35% increased freeze buildup, but if you're able to make it work without it, or even with just the 20% on Thin Ice here, it is incredibly powerful and worth it. I also obviously came and got you these 2 power charge nodes, and as you can see, I have 8 times Flicker Strikes now instead of 6, and it is a massive damage increase. Like, absolutely massive. I haven't changed anything else around. I haven't changed your runes. I haven't changed this pathing. I know you have an Against the Darkness that you're wanting to come and get these nodes. Unfortunately, these ones definitely aren't the most efficient for you because you're split. Like Evasion Energy Shield, so like, yeah, Escape Velocity is decent. Freedom of Movement is okay, I guess. But Deft Recovery is just straight useless. You're just going to be getting it for the nodes, and it's unfortunate that you have to spend 6 points to get you to level 97, unless you were to drop something else that would naturally give you more, like the Maiming Strike node. But at least it would get you something, and definitely would be a bunch of added damage. But with that said, I think this here is probably your best setup for level 91. If you can get more lightning damage, come here for a Coming Calamity. And yeah, the damage increase is very real, and I know that with the incorrect calculations on POB, because it's not currently talking about how Infernal Cry would give you more damage. I mean, you could even put on Mantra of Destruction if you wanted to press another button that way instead of Orb of Storms, but Orb of Storms would be less utility, wouldn't give you the Enraged Warcry stuff. Honestly, it would be less damage overall, but it is something you could do if you're willing to build 10 combo charges before you were to cast an ability. Either way, I think the best way for you to go about it is kind of this setup right here. I have the skills in here, but I did not put in the Orb of Storms. Orb of Storms would just be Rage Forged and whatever you want that way. But yeah, it's pretty straightforward and easy. Uh, cast on freeze, cast on shock, all that jazz is whatever. This is your setup. I would change that, like I said, to either elemental invocation or cast on critical, and it would do wonders for you. Either way, that is everything for now. I hope that gave you a lot of help there, Zahad. This here should be absolutely massive. And yeah, also just for reference, this here's like 300,000 damage or 200,000 damage per second just going that way with your setup, but it's actually more than 200,000 damage per second. POB is just miscalculating right now, and I'm not going to be putting in manual configs for absolutely everything. But yeah, this should be a big improvement for you. Let me know how it goes. Hopefully we can have some video showing what the playstyle is like, but as it is, I look forward to seeing more builds, and I look forward to hearing how well this works for you. Either way, see you, my dudes. If you liked it, sub and like, and if not, don't. Either way, I appreciate you all. Bye-bye.